Hello and welcome to a DFS strategy video for the 2023 RBC Heritage. My name is Eric, and here at SweetSpotDFS, it's all about trying to hit the optimal lineup every single week. And these strategy videos, what I like to do is take what we learned in the preview video, add in the Marquee Tee Times, as well as the anchor buckets, and then start building some lineups. So if you come into the chat now or later, and if you catch any of, you catch this message at any point in time, give me 2 to 4 golfers you want me to build your lineups around at the end of this video, and I will do just that. We'll use the optimizer, we'll use the bucket system that is attached to it to figure out what the best lineup is for those 2 to 4 golfers. So we'll do that at the end of this video. Good evening, Joanne. Nice to see you. Hopefully you're repping the SweetSpotDFS t-shirt you got in the mail. Just providing good vibes. Before we get into this, some reminders, some giveaway reminders. One, I do have a cheat sheet that you can follow along with. So throughout this whole video that I'll be doing, you have access to what you see on the screen. If you want to get to this page, check out check the description of this video. You'll find a link that'll go straight to the cheat sheet. Once you're here, you get to use all the filters that are attached. But what I recommend you do, go to the file menu and make a copy. Once you make a copy of this, you get to mark this up however you'd like. You get not only the dream sheet, but you also get the bucket system that's behind it. So this gives you all the projections that we talked about in the preview video and that I'll be talking about here in the strategy video. And personally, I was going to say you could probably mark this up if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. I think everything here is pretty good. The bucket system is usually 94% correct. So I would just keep this alone. But this is what we're going to talk about. And again, I talked about this in the preview. We'll talk about here in the strategy video. This is how we're building our lineups based off these projections. So you get that in the cheat sheet as well as what I have here in the dream sheet, which has a ton of information. And if you want to copy any of this information, you do have to make a copy because I do have it restricted just to view. If you want to modify it, you will have to make a copy. So this is available to you. I'm also going to be building lineups with my optimizer, which is an Excel spreadsheet that utilizes the solver mechanic on it. If you want access to this, right there, email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. Let me know that you're interested in the optimizer and that you like to use it this week. I can do it while live streaming right now. I have an extra copy available. I have my email up, so if you do email me, I'll send it your way. You do have to be subscribed to the channel, and you're going to have to comment in the live chat. I always want to make sure I'm giving it to someone who participates on the channel. So it just requires your participation. That is all. And again, if you want access to this, just let me know. Email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com. This is what we're going to be using to build lineups later on in the stream. And again, this utilizes the bucket system. By the way, not only do you get the optimizer, you get to track which lineups you've built, how many combinations. This is my version of it, so I don't have it updated, but you can see how many times your golfers are actually put together. Here, let me just open up the one that you're going to get. That way I'm not confusing you with these empty sheets. So this is the one you're going to get. Has these combinations in here. So let's say I go ahead and I save this lineup that's right here on the screen. And we go into this combination sheet. You're going to see, oh, Victor Hovland is paired up with Max Homa, and it'll tell you how many times it's been matched. It's pretty nice. That way you can, just double check if you have too much exposure with some of the combinations. Also, if you wanted to, put this in a contest, whatever contest you would do, like this is for importing into DraftKings, you would paste all that information here, and then you hit this randomize button, and it'll paste, oh boy, it'll paste that lineup right here. And then it'll tell you how many times you're playing a golfer, how much money you're investing in them, whatever the exposure level is that you have, the max, whatever max contest that golfer's in. This way you can track how much money you're putting into a golfer. So this is available to the optimizer. I really don't ever, I do have to update the dream sheet on this. I don't ever really flaunt, or not so much flaunt, but showcase this. It is in the video that you can see in the description here. So if you check out the description, I have one named How to Use the Optimizer. That will have all this information that I'm kind of going over. So you have all of this available to you if you do want access to the optimizer. Once again, email me at SweetSpotDFS. Let me know you like the optimizer. Go ahead, leave a message in the chat here, and then be subscribed. That way, you know, I know I'm giving it to someone who appreciates the channel and participates on the channel, just like Joanne. That is the cheat sheet and optimizer, which is available to you. You guys can use this while we go throughout this video. Let me go ahead and close this down. That way I can send it to you guys while we're talking. There are two other, well, I should say these are actual giveaways. I like to give money away, whether it's weekly or monthly. I have a weekly giveaway that's worth $5, and it basically requires the same information you see on the screen. Be subscribed, comment, and I mean, that's about it. Comment on any of the videos that I put out there. I kind of did away with the share on socials, so I don't really do like the Twitter stuff anymore. I rather this just be an exclusive YouTube thing. But if you do want to help me on Twitter, all the more power. I mean, I'll greatly appreciate that. But yeah, be subscribed, comment here in the live chat, comment on any of the other videos that I post. You get one free entry per participation, like per video that you participate on. That goes towards the weekly giveaway that I put out Monday nights. And all of those get lumped into the monthly video or the monthly giveaway at the end of the month. So it will be either worth $50 if we can reach a sub goal all the way over there to the left. You can see we're at 515 out of 550 subscribers. If we reach 550 by the end of the month, I'll give away $50 like I did this last month because we hit our 500 sub goal and gave $50 away to Barry. He also won the weekly giveaway that time, so he really benefited from the giveaway. How's it going, Shot Like Harden? Nice to see you in the chat. So those are two giveaways, the monthly and the weekly, that require the same thing. Be subscribed and comment on any of the videos. And then I also kind of have like a rebate. If you sign up on PrizePicks using the promo code SweetSpot and just put any money in there, deposit any money in there, I'm going to give you $20 back. But if you want a chance to play it for free, deposit $20 in there. I'll give you your $20 back. And then PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100. So that 20 turns into 40. And it just requires you that initial sign-up information and that initial deposit. Simple as that. But you can take advantage of the promo code, the match that PrizePicks does. So put $100 in your account, you'll have $200, and when all the dust settles, it'll only cost you $80. So that's available to you. There's a link in the description for that as well. Let's go ahead and get in this thing. The first thing that I'm going to talk about are the SweetSpot ranks. So if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, what I do is I go right into the filter, go to DraftKings. That'll put a filter on all of the columns that we'll be talking about. And I basically just sort from A to Z in the SS rank. Now, one thing I want you to note, this is what I like to do every single week, is look at, you know, the last two rows that you can see on your screen. For me, since I zoom in, I see $7,700 Matt Kuchar and $7,600 Ricky Fowler. So let's just in this one, $7,600, this last row. When I sort this, if anybody is less than $7,600 that makes their way onto the screen, those are value plays. And especially if any of the 10K golfers drop down and we see like 9K golfers kind of jump up, that's also value. So I'm going to sort from top to bottom. Number one golfer in my ranking is Patrick Cantlay. Guess what? He's going to be everyone's number one golfer, which is kind of crazy because we have Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm in the field this week. Rahm just winning the Masters last week. Could there be a hangover? It's possible. Scotty played really well. I think he had the best ball striking numbers throughout the week, but he couldn't make a putt. He finished 10th, so there's a good reason to like Scotty Scheffler this week. I personally don't care. You know, I'm going to be playing most of the 10K golfers pretty evenly because there isn't a 10K golfer at this event that I don't like. So I'm not going to really make a stand. I think if you want to optimize the amount of, or I should say maximize the amount of money you want to win this week, you would stick to maybe stick to one, maybe two of the 10K golfers, and then build your lineups around that. But I do think you're going to need a 10K golfer this week in order to take down a GPP. We went over pass optimal and GPP winning lineups yesterday and found out that usually balance builds end up doing well at this event. But this is really this is the second year where we've seen a strength of field greater than 300. Like if I go to last year and we look at our strength of field, okay, I apologize. I didn't look at last year's. It was 456. And I don't think I have it in 2021. I hope I do. I don't. It's 707. So there's 250 points between last year's event and this year's event. This is an elevated event, so the strength of field, it just brings more golfers to this event because of the higher purse, the amount of money that first place can win. I mean, I think it's $3,500 or $3,400 the winner will take, or not $3,400, Jesus, $3.4 million. I believe that's what the winner will take, whereas most events you only win a $1 million. So that's why we see a lot of the best names in the field. That's also why the strength of field is so high and why lineup building is probably going to be challenging this week. Hard to kind of take everything else that we had, for salaries over the last few years. Just like Shot Like Harden said, 2020 had a good strength of field. You're absolutely right. That was when they came back from COVID. So you had a lot of the big name golfers here. Still was won by, your optimal lineup, I think, in 2020 still was pretty balanced, where it was a 9K golfer, 3 8K golfers, make that 4 8K golfers, and a 7. So it was extremely balanced. So maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Contradict what I just said about there being a 10K golfer, because the last time we had a big strength of field, it was a balanced build. We do have to remember this is just back from COVID. So there was a huge layoff and there was only one event played beforehand, and that was the Charles Schwab Challenge. Probably, there's a lot we can make out of all of this. I still firmly believe there's going to be a 10K golfer that's going to be not only in the GPP winning lineup, but also in the optimal lineup. So I personally am going to still play a 10K golfer. I don't care which one it is. Again, if you want to maximize your profits, you just anchor around one of the 10K golfers and go from there. And there's probably good reason not to play Jon Rahm since he just won the Masters. But, if Jon Rahm's a selfish type, and, well, I shouldn't even say selfish, because he's going to want to win money for his family, it's a good week to win once again. And Jon Rahm has, I'll just say he has the best game out of all the golfers in the field. Rahm's elite game is better than anyone else's elite game in the field. So I wouldn't have an issue playing like Jon Rahm. The rest of these guys, okay, let's go back to what I was saying before. If you see anyone less than $7,600 make their way up onto the screen, which we do see, JT Poston's one of them. Brian Harmon is another. And I think Keith Mitchell also pops up. So those three golfers, they're the easy ones to figure out value. Collin Morikawa is 14th in my rankings, primarily because just really hasn't been playing super great, kind of been middle of the pack. Now, I think someone was saying how Morikawa had really good ball striking stats over the last couple events that he played. I did look at the Masters strokes gained stats that Collin Morikawa accrued, and they weren't all that to gawk after. His ball striking numbers weren't super great in comparison to Scheffler. I think Scheffler was at 11 strokes gained ball striking, whereas Morikawa was at 4, and that's what Morikawa was known for. It was like Morikawa's around the green game was good, and his putting was good. Now, there's something I could talk about when it comes to these strokes gained stats. Everyone knows my take on strokes gained. If the ball striking numbers are low, the putting numbers will tend to be high, especially if you're an elite golfer and you do have a pretty decent finish the week before. So it doesn't surprise me that Morikawa's putting stats were in the positive. To me, that's not a good indication he finally got the putting game around. No, his ball striking was bad. So that's what really bumped up his putting. I still think probably Morikawa is a terrible putter within 6 feet to 6 to 10 feet for birdie. But when he's legging putts up from 25, 30 feet away, and maybe he snakes one, like makes one from deep, his putting stats are going to look good. If he's still hitting them to 6 to 10 feet, I still think he's the Collin Morikawa of old. Like, he's probably going to miss more putts than the baseline, and that's where his negative putting stats come from. So I don't mind Collin Morikawa. His ball striking wasn't as good at the Masters as it should have been, like to his baseline. I shouldn't even say to his baseline, because he's been kind of poor as of late. So anyways, I think things are up. Joanne, you said Cantlay or Morikawa. I'm not really trying to, convince you not to play Morikawa. I think that'd be fine. I think Morikawa is a decent play. For me, I don't care about what 10K golfer I'm gonna choose. Okay. I'm just gonna highlight some of these other guys. I'm not gonna stick here on rankings too far. Shane Lowry seems like a pretty decent value. He kind of leapfrogged a few of the 10, or he leapfrogged Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Sam Burns, which we all know Shot Like Harden's favorite golfer is Sammy Burns. Also, Tom Kim, by the way. I'm going to talk about him when it comes to lineup building, because there's something interesting that I noticed before jumping online, or jumping live, I should say. Something to talk about there. So I think Shane Lowry is a little bit of a value. I do like Shane Lowry this week. He's probably going to be in my anchor lineups, honestly. So what goes into these rankings? So now that you see him here, this is 1 to 25. What goes into the rankings basically is the same thing every single week. We have OWGR, which is the official world golf rankings. This is what kind of screwed us last week at the Masters, because we couldn't use, Liv didn't have really any OWGR points, so they kind of hurt when it came to the rankings. I'm using Pete Dye grass stats. So you can see, just as grass 1 here, this is Pete Dye. And you can see that on the spreadsheet, on the cheat sheet that you guys are looking at, right over here by course fit. So I have Pete Dye events, overall Pete Dye, top 10 Dye percentage, and last year Pete Dye. This is 1 full calendar year, so this goes all the way back to last year's RBC Heritage. These 2 stats here, the overall, that goes back to 2013. So my data goes back to 2013, and it's really their average finishing position as well as the success rate of them finishing inside the top 10. That's what this number indicates right here. So all of that goes into the scoring. You can see it kind of just all shows up right there. We also have course history here under tournament history. So TH is tournament history, but really that's course history. You can see Scotty Scheffler gets hurt by this because he has 0 tournament history. We have bogey avoidance, birdie or better, and driving distance. Now, you could probably remove driving distance from this model this week, because everyone knows, I'm sure most of you have already listened to many streams out there, that this is more of a positional golf course. This is more accuracy related. So you'll want to keep that in mind. Driving distance you can drop driving distance if you want. Then we have recent form stats in DraftKings points, average finishing position, and scoring average. Just goes back the last 7 weeks. Season-long stats when it comes to DraftKings points, scoring average, it's round by round scoring average, round under 70%, cut made percentage, DK top 10%. And if any golfer's out, they'll get a minus 1,000 points just to make sure that their ranking is dead last, because you wouldn't want to play them. That takes care of the scoring. You can see the scoring's pretty tight. Like, Cantlay has an 8-point advantage over Scotty Scheffler. And then they both have, 10, 18-point difference between them and Jon Rahm. Then it kind of drops a little bit to Victor Hovland. And then you can see the rest of the guys that are 1,000 points and higher. So Fleetwood and on up. Now, these go right into the optimizer. You can see that this reflects the points that you see right here. So if I were to kind of minimize this, you see that top score is 1158. Here it is right here on Patrick Cantlay. So that is what this column in the optimizer reflects, is the sweet spot score. And that is how we'll build optimal lineups later on in the video. So that is the SweetSpot ranks. Now, I use these rankings to find out my marquee tee times. So if you are following along on the cheat sheet, all you got to do is put that filter on if you already haven't and sort by group rank A to Z. This is top to bottom. So I personally like to highlight all three each three golfers or each golfer in the group, so you can see, you know, all three golfers in group one are being highlighted together. I like to do this just to show you the different marquee tee times. I really don't have a better way to do this on Excel or the way that I present it to you. So I look at the top 9 groups as my marquee tee times. The top 9. And of these 9 groups, the rule is select 2 to 4 of the groups and then 1 golfer in each of those groups max. We don't want to pair golfers up together in the same group. Find 1 golfer from a group that you like and only play that golfer from the group. And you do that 2 to 4 times. So again, find 2 to 4 groups. I personally like Cantlay this week. So Joanne is saying Cantlay or Morikawa. That's perfect because Cantlay and Morikawa are playing together. Chances are one of them finishes in the optimal lineup. I mean, it looks like a pretty good group. So if you were choosing Cantlay, you would then not play Morikawa or Connors. It would just be only Cantlay in your lineups. So you have 1 group that you just selected. Now you got to find a second group. Well, what if you like the Max Homa, Fitzpatrick, Fowler group and you want to pair Cantlay with one of these guys? Well, do with one of them, but not 2 of them or 3 of them. I think going like if you wanted to find a 9K golfer, Max Homa's your guy. So you go Cantlay and Homa in your lineups, and you've satisfied the rules of finding 2 to 4 groups and then one golfer from each of those groups. So I picked 2 groups, 1 golfer each would be Cantlay and then Homa. Now again, you can pick 2 to 4. So what if, you didn't like Homa, but instead you liked Matt Fitzpatrick? You probably have some salary that you can use in selecting maybe Xander, the group of Xander, Shane Lowry, or Sahith Theegala, because most of them are pretty cheap. I mean, you could add any of those guys into your lineups. So you could go with Xander if you wanted to go with Cantlay and Fitzpatrick. So you'd start 10-9-8, which everyone knows the method that I like to use is the 10-9-8-7-7-6 approach. So we already have our 10-9-8, and then we just find 2 7s and a 6 somewhere else. This would match up. And the whole purpose of doing it this way is I keep track of how frequent golfers from the Marquee Tee Times finish in the optimal lineup as well as the GPP winning lineup. Last week, we actually had 2 golfers in the same Marquee Tee Time in the GPP winning lineup. That's fine. It still wasn't inside the optimal lineup. And if you wanted to beat the GPP winning lineup, easiest way to do it is to hit the optimal, which obviously isn't easy. We've been chasing it for a while, but why not follow the trends that we typically see week in and week out? So personally, I think still following that 2 to 4 is the way to go. And if you wanted to know, this is also built into the optimizer. So I've got group 1 through 9 here. I'm showing you we're choosing only a max of 1 golfer in each of those. I didn't update this. This should be 4. And then the rule is select 2 to 4 of them. So I'm making sure the optimizer selects at least 2, no more than 4. So this is already built in the optimizer. And again, if you want access to this, just email me. I'm keeping my eyes on my email right now. If anyone wants it, I will send it to you. So that is how the Marquee Tee Times work. And I guess just to talk about them a little bit, let me say hi to Barry first and Ryan. What's going on, Ryan? Nice to see both you guys here. Hey, what did I miss, party people? Nothing so far. We're almost finishing up. We're gonna go over the anchor buckets here shortly, and then we'll get into some lineup building. Ryan, is Cam one of your friends? I vaguely remember when you introduced him into the email or something like that. The guy who shipped the Millie. So what's weird is, so I have 4 of you guys right now participate in the chat. I only have 1 viewer that it shows on my concurrent viewers. So something's weird with YouTube. Anyways, so the Marquee Tee Times, again, select 2 to 4 groups and then 1 golfer from each of those groups and no more than one. That is the rule. Shot, are you paying attention? So when you give me a combo, it's not going to already be together. I know this is what's going to happen. Anyways, I think there's several good groups this week and several easy ways to build lineups. Like the fact that, like, this is a concurrent theme that I'm seeing. Scotty Scheffler, 10,000 and above, paired with a $9,000 golfer and a $7,000 golfer. That makes lineup building pretty easy to, like, if you didn't like Scotty, well, hey, there's Cam Young right there. Same applies for Homa at $9,000, Fitzpatrick at $8,000, Fowler at $7,000. The only group that doesn't really work out, I think there's two groups. Didn't we just talk about Cantlay and Morikawa? Yeah. But there's Rahm and Spieth. Like, that actually kind of makes it easy because I think it's Rahm or Spieth. You wouldn't want to pair them up together anyways. You've got Cantlay, Morikawa, and then Corey Connors. So that's also an interesting group. I think all these groups are kind of easy to pick golfers from. And what this makes me feel like, how everything is kind of easy this way, is I kind of feel like there's going to be 4 golfers from the Marquee Tee Times in the optimal lineup. I'm getting really strong vibes that we're going to see 4. So it could be a balance build. So like JT at $8,900, pair him up with Shane Lowry, pair them up with Matt Fitzpatrick, and then maybe add Cam Young. I'm sure you could put those 4 golfers together. They're not playing in the same group, and this would be a part of the optimal lineup. If that's not the case, maybe we have a few 10K golfers that are inside the top 5, and that's going to screw up the Marquee Tee Times, because then there obviously aren't going to be enough 8 or 9K golfers that you'd be able to satisfy an optimal lineup with that are in the Marquee Tee Times. That's another way that you could look at this, because again, I think there's going to be a 10K golfer inside the top 10. I think it's just the easiest way to build lineups is just to start with a 10K golfer. But I'm going to do my strategy a little different. I have something to bring up when it comes to lineup building that I'll just leave till then. Shot Like Harden says Cam has won 4 millions. I saw that on Twitter. That's crazy. And I remember so I think his Twitter handle is similar to what his DraftKings handle is, that Club Cam Cole or something like that. It's like I remember seeing that name way back when I want to say he was doing the quarter arcade stuff and all that, whatever. It was a familiar name, like either the $2 winner take all or something like that. It's crazy. Any weather concerns this weekend? So I think when you look at weather for the weekend, and I'm sure you probably mean Thursday, Friday, to go along with Saturday. So for the tournament. So let me address that first. For the tournament, no. For these tee times, no. I'm not concerned whatsoever. I think someone was mentioning that there might be a little bit of wind on Friday evening, like Friday afternoon, and that was like moving from 8 miles an hour to 12 miles an hour. I don't think there's an issue with that. So I think we're in the clear. I think, doing a pretty balanced PM AM stack, or not so much a stack, but just choosing 3 AM golfers with 3 PM golfers, or 4 AM golfers with 2 PM, or 4 PM with 2 AM, that kind of thing. I have that built into the optimizer too, by the way. So I have AM PM down here. You could tell the optimizer select at least 2 from each wave, but no more than 4 in one and no more than 5. I kind of keep it that way, but I leave these to 0 when I build lineups. I don't personally think there's a benefit. Even when we think there are waves, there ends up not being. Like wave advantages, there ends up not being. So I'm not too concerned. But if you were to do showdown lineups, that's where you'd want to look if there's an edge of golfers who go off in the morning versus the PM. I think that's the best way to use weather to your advantage. Otherwise, I probably just ignore it, honestly. I'm going to be chalky as hell this week. Really? Well, Sam Burns isn't going to be chalky this week. You have all your all your leverage there with Sam Burns. New decision-making process from SweetSpot. I'm intrigued. What did I say? There was a new decision. What was it? I already blacked out. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, that's what happens sometimes when you stream. You don't remember anything you just talked about. I mean, I'm sure I did it on purpose, but I don't remember. The short-term memory right now is terrible. Loving your group rankings. 3 of my plays in top 6 and the other 3 lone pivots. Sweet. That's awesome. Joanne strongly considers fading the 9K. She already mentioned this in one of the comments. I don't know, Joanne. I don't know. I like Tony Finau. I mean, the thumbnail of this video are my 2 favorite plays this week. Patrick Cantlay and Tony Finau. I think Finau is a great play. Yeah. But then you obviously heard me say I still think there's going to be a 10K golfer in the optimal, meaning I'm going to play 10K golfers. I just said one way you could do it. I'm all about hedging my bets, by the way. So you know how I told you I was going to do the 30-30-30 at the Masters, you know, go 30% Rahm, 30% Rory, and 30% Scheffler. Well, I went like 24 Rahm, 38 McIlroy, and then the remaining were Scheffler. I fell in love with McIlroy and JT lineups. And I was going to say this till we got to lineup building, but I blame all of you guys. I blame all of you. Because I was building lineups during our stream last week, and you allowed me to fall in love with McIlroy and Thomas. You were also enabling me. So I blame all of you guys. I'm just kidding. Oh, no. I just wanted someone to blame, okay? I don't want to take accountability for myself. It was my fault. Anyways, let's move on. Sidetracked. Reading chat and not getting on with the video. People who watch us within 24 hours where there's no chat, because it takes 24 hours to process the chat, they're going to be like, who the hell are you talking to? Oh, yeah, no. I'm pulling a Byron right now. This is exactly what you just did an hour ago. Blaming the chat. Your ADHD or your ADD kicking in. Yeah. I was there, Byron. I listen. You're like my pump up, or my whatever you want to call it, my prep time, sound ambiance, whatever, in the background while I get ready to do my videos. And then Ryan Henson comes into the chat. I will take all the blame Rory stand. Okay, good. Big Ryan, you get it. Ryan, it's to blame Ryan for all the bad Rory lineups. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So we just went over Marquee Tee Times. We talked about the SweetSpot ranks. It's time to get into anchor buckets. Blame Shooter. Yeah, we always blame Shooter McGavin. That's just the way to go. All right, so if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, go to the max projection, go filter by condition, and we're going to go greater than or equal to 2. This will trim down the buckets to look at. From here, my whole thought process is let's trim it down even more. So I want to find pretty much the smallest amount of golfers in each of these buckets and go from there. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You could clear out every selected number here and just select up to a number you're comfortable with. To me, 25 is the number. Sometimes I do 30. We can go ahead and include 29, but I'll exclude the 41, 44, 52, 57, 96. The other way you could do this is also filter by condition and go less than or equal to 30. And then that will also eliminate kind of the difficult buckets to select from. So this includes the recent form 2. We could exclude this if we wanted to, take out 29 and just look 25 and less, but we have 5 anchor buckets. They're all actual buckets that I think are worth looking at. So what this is telling us is at least one golfer from each of these buckets will be inside the top 10. And if we see more than one golfer in these buckets, it's a good chance that guy is going to be the play this week. So let's go ahead and take a look. Last year ones. Again, if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, go to the dream sheet, put that filter on. what I suggest to do right away is just sort from salary top to bottom. Just makes life easier when we're talking about these buckets. The first one are golfers who top 20'd last year. That's what the last year one bucket is. Golfers who top 20'd the RBC Heritage last year. The projections 1 to 3. 100% frequency rate of seeing one of these golfers inside the top 10 every single year. 100% frequency rate of seeing one of these guys in the optimal lineup every single year. Read and weep. Who in chat? Who's your favorite? Let's make this interactive. I forget to do this every once in a while now that I have a few people here. Who do you like the most? We want to select at least one, but up to 3. Personally, I like Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay is my favorite out of this range, but then there's Jordan Spieth. So if we're going to be like, I want to play a 10K golfer this week, these are the 2 guys I don't mind anchoring my lineups around. I already like Patrick Cantlay as it is. So does everyone else. But can we make an argument for any of the other guys down here? I mean, do you want to put a lot of faith in these 6K golfers to build your lineups around? And if we were to exclude 6K golfers, now we have even a smaller range of golfers to select from. And then from here, are we confident in Cam Davis? Are we confident in Sepp Straka, JT Post, Matt Kuchar, Corey Connors, Tommy Fleetwood? Are we interested in any of those guys? If it's not going to be a 10K golfer, then we're just left with Cameron Young and Shane Lowry. Personally, again, 1 to 3, I have no issue anchoring my lineups around Patrick Cantlay and Shane Lowry, and then just filling in the remaining spot with one of these guys. So I think, any of the 7K golfers, personally, I have no issue going back to Corey Connors. I know a lot of people are like, well, because I think Justin Rose is right next to Matt Kuchar in price tag. Why go to Kuchar when you can go to, Justin Rose? Well, did you see Kuchar at the Valero Texas Open? One of the other golf courses that he likes playing. This is another one he likes playing. Why not go to Kuchar? I think it's fine. So let me read chat. Cam Young and Cantlay, I think that's also a wonderful group. I think that's fine. Full send on Cam Young. I heard you, Byron. I heard you with Cam Young. I have no issue playing Cam Young this week. My issue is going to be the combinations. Who am I going to put together? Because I have no issue going Cantlay and Young, or maybe even going Young and, I know you kind of said you didn't care about Shane Lowry, but I don't mind going to Shane Lowry this week. There were some ill-advised shots that he hit at the Masters. He did look a little clunky, but he still got around. And what did he end up shooting? Or what place did he end up getting? 16th? Yeah, so that's pretty solid. I do think the glue here, one of these golfers, oh man, I have a really good feeling one of them are going to be in the optimal lineup. I think 8K to 7K, the range here that we see in this bucket, one of these guys will be in the optimal lineup. I have a really good feeling. I think we just ignore the rest of these guys down here in the 6K range. Play them sparingly. So if you do anchor around, 1 or 2 of these guys here at the top, whatever it ends up being, I think you just sprinkle in the rest of these guys. Just one here and there. I think that'd be fine. Spieth, great single entry, 9% projected ownership. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, I'm an optimal hunter, an optimal lineup hunter. We all know that ownership does not matter when it comes to the optimal lineup. But if you're playing the leverage angle, I don't disagree with you. Charlie Carden, I'm with you on Cantlay, even though he takes 10 minutes over every putt. I think that's blown out of proportion. I brought this up to Byron on his podcast. Cantlay was questioned about Brooks saying how brutally slow the group ahead of him was, and Cantlay goes, when we got to the second tee, the golfers that were in front of us were still on the tee, ready to, waiting to tee off. So he's like, I imagine everyone was slow. And I think then, because that's the one thing is we kind of, personally, I think it's pretty bad. I would say not only in this country, but in this world, how poor our memories are. I frankly don't remember it being that slow or anyone talking about it being super slow. And I didn't pay attention, so I wasn't really thinking about, okay, what's ahead of Hovland and Cantlay's group? Because We all saw Hovland on 13 chip while Cantlay was going up to the green, while he was walking up to the green. I don't know if that was a slight towards Cantlay being slow. Probably could have been. But I don't know. Like, you can kind of figure out usually at the end of the round when people are going up 18, if you haven't seen a golfer go up 18 in a while, they're probably the slow group. And I don't know who it was. I wasn't paying attention all that much when it came to slowness. Usually the broadcast talks about that, by the way, where they're like, yeah, there's a little bit, like, I've heard Masters in the past where I think it was on Garcia, like Sergio Garcia, they're like, this group was given a warning. I don't remember that ever being said in the broadcast. So I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we all see the Cantlay shuffle, you know, when he's shuffling his feet all over the place. We all know it's like, it seems ridiculous how slow he is, but I just don't know. I don't know if he's that slow. It looks that way, but I'm not sure. Okay, so you watched him play. You know he takes forever. Okay, that's fine. Hey, you got personal experience. By the way, do we have a burner account, Mr. Harden, Mr. Shot Like Harden? Should I have given you 2 participation trophies last week for the giveaway? Since I just didn't know. I thought you were changing your thumbnail on the fly. Kuchar will be my highest owned golfer this week. I think that's fine. That's awesome. Follow Cantlay. It's yeah. I just read that one, and I call Cantlay penguin putt. Interesting. All right, so this is the first anchor bucket, and I think we kind of have a good idea. So when we think about building lineups, let me know. You know, let's try to pick 1 or 2 of the golfers that we have on the screen to go along with some of the other anchor buckets. So we're gonna go to last week ones. So again, if you're following along with me, make sure you select everybody in the last year bucket. And then we go and clear everyone out of last week bucket and then just select one. This is our second anchor bucket to talk about. We're looking at somewhere between, now I said in the preview 1 to 4 because this max projection over here, I call this my conservative number. So if this was like less than 3, that means we round up to 3 and we bring the minimum down to 1 because we want a 2-point buffer. But I did this kind of just before the show. It's actually above 3. So this technically rounds up to 4, which means this still stays 2 to 4. So in this next bucket we're talking about, now I'm projecting 2 to 4 golfers to be inside the top 10. That doesn't mean necessarily we want to select 2 to 4 because we have all of our 10K golfers right here. Rahm, Scheffler, Spieth, Cantlay, Morikawa. There's a great likelihood 2 of these guys will be inside the top 10, and that will satisfy the projections for this bucket. Remember, 2 to 4 is the projection. But now we include Victor Hovland. We just talked about Cam Young in the previous bucket. We add in Xander Schauffele, Sung J M, Tom Kim, Matt Fitzpatrick. We already talked about Shane Lowry. Then we also have Sahith Theegala, Russell Henley, Justin Rose, and Gary Woodland. All of these golfers I would play. I've got no issue playing with it or playing any of these golfers. Do anybody in the chat, is there like any cross-offs that you see on the screen right now that you're like, there's no way I'm playing? And also, with that, what are your 2 to 4 golfers that you probably would anchor around? I don't know if we can actually anchor around 4. 3 would be challenging because, I mean, the majority of our golfers are 8K and above. So what are the 2 golfers that you think you're going to build your lineups around? Does it change from the last bucket we just looked at? I mean, because I still have Cantlay and I still have Shane Lowry that I was kind of already thinking about anchoring my lineups around. How do you guys feel about your anchor plays this week? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So, but do you have, oh, you do have a different account. One's on your phone, one's on your computer. That makes sense. I have 2 accounts. It's fixed. Ryan, what does that mean? It's fixed, JK. I'm playing Harbor Town right now while listening to you. Are you playing it on PGA Tour 2K3? Is that what you're doing? Or are you actually at the golf course? Because that would be amazing. Joanne's thinking Cantlay, Lowry, Kuchar, and everyone will have that start. Oh, you think everyone's going to have Cantlay, Lowry, Kuchar? Am I just going to be a chalk donkey, as most people call him? Thanks for announcing your entrance, Jim Lemoyne. Appreciate that. Jimmy Crack has joined the chat. Love Lowry. I love Lowry this week too. And I'm not a huge Lowry guy. I can't stand playing him. Thigala miscut. Okay. Hey. That I don't have an issue with that. Road to the Masters. All right. Kuchar Poston. Interesting. Where do we... Okay, where was Poston? You just giving me your anchor play? Your anchor plays? Either way. I really like all... I mean, again, I said this during the Marquee Tee Times. I've got no issue with any of the 10K golfers at all. I also really have no issue with the 9K golfers. Xander is 5th in my model, and he's $9,300. No one's talking about Xander this week. I think Xander's a really good positional golfer. He's really good at clubbing down, finding the right distances. I got no issue playing Xander this week. He's not my favorite golfer to watch. He's not my favorite golfer to root for, but I don't mind. Like, if I'm trying to win some money, I don't mind pairing him up with someone else. I do like Sungjae this week. I imagine a lot of other people are too. Tom Kim doesn't rate out really well in my model, but him and Fitzpatrick, perfect. These two golfers together. Let's talk about these guys. They don't rate out well in my model, and a lot of it has to do with Tom Kim's Pete Dye stats. Not super great at all. In comparison to the rest of the guys in this bucket, not good whatsoever. And Matt Fitzpatrick gets a little bit of a boost over Tom Kim, but not by much. So this is one handicap for Tom Kim and Matt Fitzpatrick are the grass stats. Then if I scroll over and I look at some of the other point totals that go into this, well, tournament history is another one for Tom Kim. So he's getting hurt by not playing this tournament or not having played this tournament. Fitzpatrick has better tournament history. But then we kind of drop with bogey avoidance, birdie or better. Well, actually not Kim. Kim has really good, but for Fitzpatrick, his kind of drops a little bit. Also, their recent form points don't look super great. And it's like Fitzpatrick's calendar year DraftKings points, his average on that, his average round under 70 percentage, as well as cut made percentage, all really bad in comparison to the rest of the golfers in this bucket. So both of their point totals suffer quite a bit. They're about 1,000 points below, the other guys, above them. And like even Shane Lowry has 1,023. He's 80 points better than Fitzpatrick. He's 60 points, 50 some points better than Tom Kim. And I was building lineups with the optimizer. If I bumped these up 100 points to get them in the 1,000 point range, Sungjae and Tom Kim got selected a lot. More than really anyone else. It was those two and Xander. So super interesting this week. What would you do with Tom Kim and Matt Fitzpatrick? Would you give him a little bit of a boost? I don't think I would with Fitzpatrick, just because a lot of what hurts him is his recent form play and really his last calendar year on the PGA Tour. Tom Kim doesn't get hurt by that, but Tom Kim gets hurt by Pete Dye stats. And he only has really, and it's because he only has 2 events. So this would be the Players Championship, and what would the other Pete Dye golf course be that he was on? The Players Championship, and I imagine PGA West. I don't have it in front of me, but I imagine those are his 2 events. So he does have good Pete Dye stats. He just doesn't have enough qualifying events. I analyze golfers who don't have many starts fairly heavily. So do we actually improve Tom Kim's, because it's right here. These are Sungjae and Tom Kim. Oh, I was looking at Matt Fitzpatrick. Interesting. Oh, I mistakenly updated it differently. Okay. So do we bump up Tom Kim's numbers here? Do we think he should be in the ballpark of these guys? Like, should I give him a 100-point boost, so from 968 to 1068, or should I just bump it up like 50 points? I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. I want you guys to know, or I want you guys to be a part of it. I don't know what to do. I personally don't mind leaving it at 968, but now that I see the Pete Dye stats, I'm not sure I want to penalize him that harshly, because really those are the only things that hurt him. How about this? I have actually a decent way to do this. So Tom Kim is right here, 15, 10, 15. How about we give him something in the mid right here? Seth Theegala's numbers. 25, 30, 27.5. And that gets him like a 50-point boost. So now he goes up to 10, 11. 10, 14. There we go. Hey, Ryan McQueen, you got it. You hit it on the number. I think that's fine. And you're right, Byron. Those are rookie numbers. I mean, he only has 2 events on Pete Dye golf courses. But the thing is, what I've realized from doing this for a long time is they can't be treated equally. Rookies and veterans that have been playing these Pete Dye golf courses, or just like Bermuda or any type of grass stat, you can't treat them equally. They will burn you more often than not. So I don't mind doing like 10, 11. He can match Sahith Theegala's. I think that's fine. Maybe I just don't ding him that hard for not playing. But I think Matt Fitzpatrick, do you guys think that's fair? Like, I don't. The only question that comes with Matt Fitzpatrick to bump him up would be the argument that he's playing better now than he has over the last year. And so the only argument that I think I would accept is his recent form is better than his baseline. Put it that way. Old Elvis says, will that change his value numbers? Yeah. So, like, I have formulas in here that go off of I always go over what's included in my model. And this is something that I noticed with Tom Kim. So when I was building lineups before jumping on stream, I was like, wow, why is Tom Kim so low compared to everyone else? And then I realized it has a lot to do with his grass stats. Just like I was talking about with what I was just saying to Byron was, I don't want to, like, he has really good Pete Dye numbers, but he only has 2 events under his belt. So these are his numbers right here. I do want to reward him for having good numbers, but then I mean, it's 2 events and his average finishing place is 28.5. So let's rationally think about this. He has a 50% success rate of finishing inside the top 10, meaning he's done it once. He's done it once. In the other event, he didn't. So to get 28.5, let's say he finished 10th place. He still gets that 10%, or he still gets that success rate bonus, because he did finish inside the top 10. But then to get 28.5, so if we double that, that's 57, meaning he has a 10th place finish and a 67th place finish to get this number. And if it's not 10th place, then you just start, the margins start getting worse, or they get greater. So let's say he had a 5th place finish. That means then, let's see, what were, oh, I did my math wrong. My apologies. So 28.5, if you double that, that's 57, not whatever I said. I don't even know what I said. But 47th place would be his bad finish. It'd be 10th place and 47th place. Now, if he got a 5th place finish, then that means he had a 52nd place finish in his other event, so on and so forth. So, and we know he didn't win a Pete Dye golf course. At least I don't think he did. Did he? Am I remembering? I don't think Wyndham is a Pete Dye. I'm pretty sure it's shoot. I forgot his name. I'm pretty sure that's not a Pete Dye golf course. Anyways, so Yeah, I do want to reward him, just not that much. I think what we have is actually right. And actually, what Ryan McQueen said, 10-14, let's do that. Let's put it at 10-14. So, yep, that's fine. 10-14, perfect. And I'm actually going just to make it a flat 10-14. That works for me. And so when we start building lineups, he'll get that little bit of a boost. All right. I try to quote Wolf of Wall Street there. Gotta bump them up. Oh, those are... I don't remember how it goes, but I know what you're talking about. But it still applies. Yeah. No Matty Fitzpatty? You don't want Marty Fitz? No thanks. Okay, cool. So again, 2 to 4 golfers, we're projecting to be inside the top 10 here. Kind of getting derailed here. Let's move on to the next anchor bucket. Course history 2. So having pretty good course history is one of the other anchor buckets here. So we have Jon Rahm, Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa of all the 10K golfers. Then we also include Victor Hovland. Look at that. Shane Lowry's now in 3 anchor buckets that we just talked about. We have JT showing up. I think that's the first time seeing JT in any of these buckets. Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood was already in one of the other buckets we talked about. The last year 1 bucket. Poston, obviously we talked about him as well. And then a bunch of other guys down here, which I'm sure some of these guys showed up. I think Joel Damon was, but we don't need to really, talk about them. So out of these guys, our projection, again, 1 to 3. So that is what we anticipate being inside the top 10. With 1 to 3, it could be one of these 10K golfers and then nobody else. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. We've been seeing a lot of Victor show up in these anchor buckets. Shane's been in each one so far. We've seen JT Poston. And of course, Rahm and Spieth. Spieth has been in every bucket too. So Spieth and, I'm sorry, I was kind of throwing him some shade there. So Spieth and Shane Lowry have been in every bucket we've talked about so far. I don't guarantee that they're going to be in the optimal lineup, but it just increases their chances. So do we feel a little bit better about Jordan Spieth or Shane Lowry in playing them? Or do we just say, no. I still like the other guys that we've seen already. Like, sure, Rahm hasn't been in each anchor bucket, but he's been in 2 so far, and I'd rather play Rahm over Spieth or Lowry. Or, we've seen Hovland in 2. Why not one of them? And honestly, just one of these guys being in an anchor bucket makes it all that much better too. Oh, I was going to say, did I also see Morikawa was on all of the buckets too? But he wasn't. So anyways, 1 to 3, who do you guys got? I mean, so we don't see Cantlay. Cantlay doesn't show up in this bucket, which is fine. He's actually in course history 1, which isn't an anchor bucket, but I think it has a 100% frequency rate of being inside the top 10. So it's very good likelihood that Cantlay will still be in consideration for the optimal, or have a good shot of being the optimal. Yeah, I mean, there's Rahm, there's Spieth, there's Morikawa. There's still a lot of good golfers. So I'll move on. I'm not seeing anyone talk about anything in the chat, so let's go on. Let's move on to the next anchor bucket. Recent Form 2s, that 20 to 40 range. We want 2 to 4 golfers in that bucket. Well, I should say 2 to 4 is what I am projecting to be inside the top 10. Let's see who those guys are. Starts out with Morikawa. How many golfers are in this bucket? Jeez. This is our 29. Okay, the 29 golfers in this bucket. Morikawa is here. Cam Young shows up. So now we didn't see him in the course history 2 bucket because he was in the course history 1 bucket. Now we see him in 3 buckets. Tony Finau is here. Xander is here. Homa makes his first appearance. Homa's not in. He's in a couple bad buckets. By the way, we talked about this in the preview. Sam Burns is here. Sung J M, Tom Kim, and oh my goodness, Shane Lowry shows up for a 4th time. A 4th time in the anchor buckets. Let me repeat that a fourth time. 11th in the model, $8,300. Super easy. Again, doesn't ensure he's going to be in the optimal lineup, just makes his chances that much better. And then there's a lot of other good names. I don't think there's really worth talking about most of these guys. I think we probably just move on. I mean, let the optimizer do all the work, because there's a lot of good names down here. Sam Stevens, Ben Griffin, Steven Yeager. I like Yeager this week, by the way. Denny McCarthy. I don't think he's getting much love. Taylor Moore, Taylor Montgomery, Chris Kirk, Keith Mitchell, Siwoo Kim, Justin Rose, Russell Henley. Shot Like Harden likes all of the 8K golfers. There you go, man. I mean, I wouldn't select more than 4. But if you wanted to build around some of these guys, I don't think you have. There's no issue with me when it comes to that. Again, I mean, so keep that in mind. Hey, Shot Like Harden, let's try to build some 8K, just like 3 or 4 8K golfers. Let's anchor around those guys and see if we can actually build a lineup that way. We'll keep recent form bucket 2 in mind when doing this, and we can anchor around 4 of these guys and just see what happens. See if we break anything. Okay. I'll let the optimizer kind of select these guys. There's 29 golfers in this bucket, and I would say 20 of them are golfers I want to play this week. So hard for me to really determine which ones that I want to make stands on. Cam Young is there. I mean, I think Byron's in another pod. So I'm sure if he sees this, he's going to be super excited about that. He's in 3 buckets, just like Cantlay, just like Morikawa. Morikawa's been in 3 anchor buckets to build lineups around. So it's going to be really interesting to create lineups. Our last one's a strokes gain 1 bucket. So just to show you, strokes gain 1 is this dark green color. We're already going to lose Morikawa, Cam Young, and Shane Lowry. So Shane Lowry is not going to be in every single anchor bucket. He was just in 4 of the 5 anchor buckets that we talked about. But here are your strokes gain 1 guys. I like most of these guys. Adam Schenk, if you didn't already know, he's on baby watch. He might withdraw from the event even if he makes the cut. So be on the lookout for that. Everyone else, though, I mean, we already know I like Patrick Cantlay this week. We already know Shot Like Harden likes Sam Burns this week. We just bumped up Tom Kim's rankings. Let's see, what would he actually be? 10, 11. Hold on. Before I get into that, we're going to get back to Tom Kim, but the projection is 2 to 5, by the way. I forgot to mention that. 2 to 5 golfers from this bucket will be inside the top 10. I think we could probably, I mean, if it's not 2 to 5 inside the top 10, it's definitely 2 to 5 in the optimal lineup. I think starting here and building your lineups around golfers from here is probably the way to go, or at least starting with some of these guys. Like, I don't mind starting Cantlay and, hey, Shot Like Harden, you and I can go Cantlay and Burns, and then fill out the rest from there. I kind of like Cantlay and Finau, if I'm going to be honest. Like, Cantlay, Finau, to me, I can't. I think starting with those 2 golfers, and that's what I'll do. I'll start lineups that way. 2 to 4 of those guys, or not 2 to 4 of those guys. These 2 golfers will satisfy the projection for this bucket, but then we can also allow the optimizer to select anybody else from this bucket to build in. And starting with a 10-3 guy and a 9-4 guy makes lineup building still pretty darn easy. And we can still get Sammy Burns in there. Still can get him in there. Okay. Going to Tom Kim. The last thing I want to touch up on is, let me go ahead and remove all of the filters that I have on here. Go down to Tom Kim. Actually, let me sort it out from top to bottom, ranking-wise. And what I'm looking for is 10-11. So 10-11's right there. He would slot right here. Oh my God, my bad. Oh, amateur hour. So 10-11, he would slot in between Fleetwood and Hatton. So he would be 16th. He'd be the 16th ranked golfer as opposed to the 22nd golfer. I'm not going to update that. But one thing I want to just touch up on is when we go to group ranks, he's down here with Russell Henley and Billy Horschel. If I add up these points, that's 109. If we take 6 points away from that, so 109, does that beat this one? So they tie. Finau, Keegan Bradley, and Gary Woodland. This would actually be a tied group if he bumps up. Because he doesn't bump up ahead of Finau, so nothing's going to change with this group. This will still be 103. This one will actually equal 103 as well, meaning they tie, and I probably still put them in the 8th ranked spot, if I'm being honest. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I push them to 7, and then Finau goes to 8th. I guess it doesn't really matter. We got our jokester back. Do we remember any of his previous names? I still can't, like, I kind of think. So Sandy Lyle's Winning Style. I like that. That's a great name. What was he in the previous podcast? I'm certainly not going to say that name out loud because I know what it refers to. And that's a great joke, by the way. I like Mr. Hunt this week. Definitely plays well in wet conditions. It's good to know. Good to know. It's a good joke, by the way. Say that name quickly in your head, and you get the joke that he's saying. Let's see here. I think that's it. So it doesn't really change the anchor lineups when we make Tom Kim's rankings just a little bit better. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start building some lineups. I'm going to throw some music on. I think we're going to get into lineup building. Are we an hour into this? Of course. I mean, it always takes about an hour to do the strategy portion of the video, and then we get right into building lineups. Let me know if the music is too loud on your guys' end, and I will bump it down. I found some playlists, by the way, that are royalty-free. Who do I still have in the chat? Give me 2 to 4 golfers to build lineups around. Gotta really push down the volume on my side, otherwise it'll pick up through my mic. Sandy's Lyle's Winning Style. Do you got 2 to 4 golfers, like legitimate golfers you want me to build lineups around? By the way, I want to know which DFS content creator this is. We know that this is a content creator from somewhere just going and trolling people, right? It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Cantley Lowry, are you doing this just to appease me, Ryan? Oh my god, look at all the Cantley Lowrys that we have. Okay. No, I love it. I love it. We'll do Cantley Lowry right away, right off the bat. IB, hello. Do you think Scotty Scheffler can lay a couple strokes? Or he can't lay? Can you rephrase that? I'm not exactly sure. Is this like a head-to-head bet that you're thinking about doing between Scotty and Cantlay, or I'm not positive what you're asking. All right. So this first group, by the way, I already saw built. One of my favorite lineup. I like Ben Griffin and $6,900. You remember during the springtime, this guy was on fire and got really close to winning a couple events. Dude, sign me up with all Ben Griffin. And I get to include Rose and JT Poston to go with Lowry, Finau, and Cantlay. This is the reason why Cantlay and Finau are the thumbnail of this picture, by the way, is this lineup. I love this lineup. Kenny. IB. Huh? AIB? I want to know where Sandy's Lyle's winning style is. Is he still in the chat, or did he switch his name to IB? Got another jokester in here. Anyways, let's move on. Ben Griffin, 6,900. I like that. So I'll tell you right now, this is a core. You're going to see Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Rose, and Poston show up a ton, and it's just going to sub out 6K golfers. Okay, so Brian Harman ends up being in this one, but I think that's a great substitution. So now we have a core 4. Victor Hovland comes in here. Now it's going to be wrong. So there we go. We got Tony Finau back to go with Thomas Dietrich and Brendan Todd. I think that's fine. Hovland, Lowry, Scott, Harman, Todd. I like that lineup. Finau, Lowry, Hatton, Harman, Taylor. I like that lineup. Here's a great lineup I like as well. Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Adam Scott, Brian Harman, Cameron Davis. Super great lineup there. Cantlay, Homa, Im, Lowry, Poston, and Mullinax. I saw this lineup being built earlier, and I find it really interesting because I probably won't have a lot of Max Homa exposure, but I think putting these guys all together, like Trey Mullinax is known for hitting the ball super far, but I guarantee he's a pretty sneaky play this week. Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Montgomery, Harman, KH Lee. Pretty good lineup. 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 7. Sung Jae, Lowry, Rose, Montgomery, Poston. Take that lineup too. I'm really interested because when I started building lineups, that first one that I built with, it was Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Rose, and then JT Poston. I did not have anyone locked, and I just kept hitting the run optimizer. I wonder if it's because I have this locked, it changes the way the optimizer selects golfers. But like even this lineup, like Seabez isn't included. This seems like a pretty good Seabez golf course, right? Finau, Lowry, Wyndham, Clark. I have no issue with going Cantlay, Finau, Lowry. If I was to do like a core 3 or even a core 4, include JT Poston. We just kind of mentioned Denny McCarthy not too long ago. This is a great lineup. And now we get to add Keith Mitchell to the mix, which I'm sure everyone is disappointed with what he did at the Masters. Cantlay, Homa, Lowry, Clark, Poston, Seamus Power. Yeah, sign me up for this lineup. I like this lineup a lot. Shalik Harden, how are you feeling about these lineups, by the way? Going Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, or just any of you guys? Does Finau give you any like cause for concern? Would you like me to lock out Finau and see what the optimizer would do without Finau in them? This is a great lineup. Like Poston, Mitchell, like maybe not so much Mitchell. I don't really care for Mitchell all that much, but Justin Sugg gets added. Here we go. Here's a shot like Harden lineup. Cantlay, Burns, Lowry, Rose, Wyndham, Clark, JT Poston. I like that lineup a lot. This is in contention for my favorite lineup built. I like that one a lot. Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Mitchell, Poston, Pendrith. Yep, sign me up with that one. I kind of wish Mitchell wasn't in here and instead it was Justin Rose. Jim Kristoff, what's going on, man? Nice to see you again. Morikawa and Fitz. Okay, we'll do that one next. Cantlay, Finau, Lowry, Rose. Okay, so this core of 5, this 5 core, subbed in a bunch of these 7 and 6K golfers like Emiliano Grillo and I think Taylor Pendrith that was in the last lineup was also a part of it. Man, so many good lineups starting Cantlay and Lowry. There we go. Another good one right here. I like this one a lot. But let's go ahead and move on. So going Cantlay Lowry gives you a ton of options. Ryan McQueen, thanks for all you. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. You are welcome. I was thinking that I was going to get another email to send the optimizer, but instead I get a nice little thank you message. Thank you, Ryan. All right. We are going with Morikawa and Matty Fitzpatrick. Ryan, I see your lineups too, or the Spieth Thomas lines. We'll definitely do that. And I'll also do Spieth Lowry for you, Mr. McQueen. Ooh. So we're seeing some of the same golfers, but in different combinations. So we have Colin, Xander, Fitzpatrick. By the way, the lowest scoring guy with the sweet spot score, like Rose, Harmon, and Cameron Davis have better scores than Fitzpatrick. I'm going to bump them up for the time being. We'll give them a 100-point boost because I don't want to continue to have to go in and lock out golfers. So that first one will be the same. Let's move on to the next one. Morikawa, Xander, Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Ben Taylor. I like that lineup. So those three once again, then it's Justin Rose, JT Post, and Thomas Dietrich. I love that lineup. This is definitely one of my favorite lineups. I'm saving it. I've told myself I am not going to save the lineups I build on stream. Not because they're not good, it's just not the method that I want to deploy for the week, but that's just too good. I think that might be the last one that I save, hopefully. Well, I like Ben Griffin. I'd save that one too. Yeah, okay, so this is exactly what happened with Lowry and Cantlay and Finau. So this is the other three to make this a core 5. I'm cool with that. Like Justin Rose and JT Poston, I almost dare to say what can go wrong. You know, gluing those lineups together with the top 3 that you have. But Morikawa, Xander, Fitzpatrick, I'm loving that. And if it keeps cycling out these 7 and 6K golfers, you know, it didn't do it at this one, but it might in the next couple ones. I say by all means, continue to, like, if you wanted to do a core, it's a wonderful core to build around. There we go. Xander, Fitzpatrick, Rose, Poston, and Justin Suh. I have no issue playing Xander this week, by the way. So this is a really, like, I like this lineup a lot. So what's going on in my head right now is because I'm seeing all of these like cores work out. So Morikawa, Fitzpatrick is just getting paired up with Xander almost exclusively. And then also adding like JT Poston, Justin Rose. So it's those two to go with those 3 to make that core of 5. The same is happening with Cantlay, Finau, Lowry. So those 3 are showing up all the time too. Was I disconnected for a while? I don't see anything like from the Streamwise, but I just got a message saying OBS reconnected successfully. From like the glimpses that I do looking back at the controls, I don't see that I ever went offline, but let me know. It doesn't matter. Talking about these lineups, just to repeat myself, I kind of like this core of 5. Like I do like Poston, I do like Rose, and going with like Morikawa, Schauffele, and Fitzpatrick. On the flip side, going Cantlay, Finau, and Lowry, I kind of want to put just those lineups in all my contests. I don't necessarily like to go that narrow when it comes to, you know, my cores, but it's just, oh man, it's looking way too good, way too good. Yeah, Rose, JT Poston, Grillo. Yep, sign me up. I mean, Rose and Poston, it's perfect. A high 7, a low 7, just works out. Now we add Mitchell to the mix to go with Poston and Hadwin. I think that's great. Montgomery, Poston, Harmon. That's also another good combo. For those that like Morikawa and Fitzpatrick, do you want me to get rid of Xander just to see who shows up next? Let me know. Poston and Hadwin, I think that's... Oof. This is a good one. Anytime you can add Akshay Bhatia to a lineup, I think is wonderful. Morikawa, Schauffele, Fitzpatrick, Rose, Poston, and Patrick Rogers. I don't mind playing Patrick Rogers. I know some people just like swear against it, but sign me up. I don't mind adding that to a lineup like this. These are all really good lineups. Jeez. I have some decisions to make when it comes to this lineup build. All right, so I'm not seeing any... okay, we want Xander out. Perfect. I was just about to say, I'm not seeing anyone disagree. So I'm going to go ahead and say Xander's out. I'm going to go and build lineups once again with everyone cleared out. So I don't want anyone locked out is basically what I'm trying to get at. So now we add Finau to the mix. And we drop Poston and we add Harmon. Is that what's going to be? So Rose is just going to keep getting added to this, which I have no issue with. Yeah, so it's now Finau. If it's not Xander, it's Finau. These are great lineups. I mean, we still have Rose, we still have Poston, so do we want to cross those guys off too? Talk about a tight core. Honestly, I might just roll with it. You know, like Morikawa, Finau, Fitzpatrick, Rose, Poston. Those are interchangeable. Like you just change out Morikawa with Cantlay. Finau gets changed out with Xander pretty easily. Fitzpatrick with Lowry. And then we just basically do the same. It's so fluently working out with the buckets that it just feels right. Like it's like a calling almost that we want to build lineups this way. Yeah, so Finau just shows up all the time, and we're seeing the same lineups built that we just saw with Xander. Okay, now we have a little bit difference. Sung Jae gets added to the mix, so does Kuchar. That's interesting. Burns gets added to the mix with Rose, Clark, and Poston. This is a great lineup. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. I am going to do what I just told you. I'm going heavy with these cores. And then basically what I'm going to do on the flip end to get my exposures with the other golfers at the top, like Spieth, Scheffler, and Rahm. I'm going to build one good lineup with each of them. Put it in a winner take all to try to recoup my money. But I think I'm going to go heavy on these cores. That's not really my brand. I don't really necessarily do it that way, but I see way too many good things right now happening with building these lineups this way. Like this lineup. Kuchar, Rose, and Scott, like those are going to be my last three. This is a great balanced lineup to play cash with. And it just works out with the buckets. Okay, so do we have it? Oh my God. Look at this. Morikawa, Finau, Fitzpatrick. Now we get to add in Lowry, Harmon, and Ben Taylor. No issues with that. Here, let me do something really quick. I want to see what our substitutions are when we take out Poston and Rose. Who then gets... included. Wow. Okay. So Ben Taylor, just an easy low 6K golfer to add into the mix, but Finau Im Fitzpatrick, that's crazy. 2 8Ks, a 9, and a 10K to go along with the 7 and a 6. Finau, Fitzpatrick, Mitchell. Okay, so Mitchell and Harmon are going to show up a bunch now. That makes sense. Kuchar and Power replace Poston and Rose. Finau, Fitzpatrick, Kuchar, Power. Okay, so Kuchar and Power get replaced if you take out Rose. See, those are also great golfers to mix in. Okay, yeah. No, the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall. It is Kuchar or Rose. It's Poston or Power. Who cares who this 6K golfer is or the low 7K golfer? And then it's Morikawa or Cantlay, Finau or Xander, Fitzpatrick or Lowry. Or you just add them all in. And then you sprinkle in Sung Jae and Sam Burns to the mix. Like, that's a pretty good player pool. Yeah, it's difficult. Like, any other combos you guys want me to see? Want to see me build? Or did we just figure out? It took like 2 seconds to figure out how to build lineups this week and we're good? Are we done? Is this video over? Yeah, Kuchar, Power. Okay, yeah. So what if I get rid of Kuchar and Power? I'm sure now Harmon gets added to the mix. No, it's just like, no, they're 7K golfers. Like, we can do our low 7K, but now we're going to invite 2 8K golfers into it. Yep, you're right, Ryan. We'll get to the Spieth and Thomas lines. Fitzpatrick, Lowry, Bradley, Wyndham Clark, Keith Mitchell. Okay, Keith Mitchell shows up. Crazy, dude. The lineup building is so... All right. Harmon, sure. Again, 2 8Ks. If we're taking Kuchar and Rose out of the picture, and then now we have a pretty balanced of 7Ks. Oh my God. I like the lineups with those combinations are ridiculous. Ryan wants the best friends together, our best friends lineup with Spieth and Justin Thomas. We are all good like that. We are quick. There's nothing wrong with being quick. Spieth, JT, Fitzpatrick, Rose, Mitchell, Cam Davis. Now, Ryan, when I go through these, if there are golfers you just don't like, you want me to cross out, let me know, and I'll do it right away. So if you just keep seeing Fitzpatrick show up, just be like, yo, get Fitz. Actually, let's. I totally forgot that we were building Fitzpatrick lineups at one time, and we upped Fitzpatrick's point total 100 points. I guarantee you he doesn't show up all that often now. Spieth, Finau, Thomas, Rose, Cam Davis, Ben Taylor. 10-9-8, 7-7-6. I bet you Finau shows up a ton. I guess not. Thomas, Sungjae Im, Justin Rose, JT Poston, Thomas Dietrich. So Rose and Poston are going to show up a lot. Do you want me to get rid of them? Or do you want to keep seeing a couple more of those lineups? Here's a great combo as well. Oh boy. Oh boy. Spieth, Thomas, Im. We go with Rose, Poston, and whatever 7/6K golfer fits in. Dude. I like these lineups, man. Okay, now we see a little difference. Spieth, Xander, JT, Seamus Power, Cam Davis, and Brendan Todd. That'll be a really different lineup. No one's going to be building that lineup. Actually, I can't even say that because I think those are all kind of popular names. I think Brendan Todd is a popular-ish 6K golfer. So what do you like more, Ryan? Do you like that Sungjae showing up to go with JT and Spieth? Or do you like that Finau shows up in between Spieth and Thomas, and then Rose pops and so does Poston? Let me know. This is seems like a core right here with Keith Mitchell. Did he say he was tired? I know he said like, yeah, 27 holes on Sunday. That doesn't really happen at Augusta, but this is an easy track. It's just mental focus. Okay. So you like seeing Sungjae show up. Well, how about this? I can X out Finau so we don't see less of him. Oh boy. So now you add Keegan into the mix. Keegan, Rose, Wyndham Clark, JT Poston. How are we feeling about Rose and Poston, by the way? Here's a good one. Hatton, Rose, Mitchell, McCarthy. That's a little bit different. Kuchar, Rose, Wyndham Clark, Keith Mitchell. A very balanced build to start with a 10K golfer. Spieth, Xander, Thomas, Rose, Harman, Mullinax. It's not terrible. Spieth, Thomas, Tom Kim. Our first Tom Kim sighting. Justin Rose, Wyndham Clark, Scott Stallings. Knock Poston out and you like Rose? Okay. Well, let's start over. I think just kicking out Finau and now we're going to kick out Poston. We'll get some different lineups. Yo, that's awesome. Shot like Harden, that's so cool. Congratulations. Was it over the fence? Did he hit it over the fence? Or I think the first time I ever hit a ball over the fence was softball. But when I was a baseball player, I used to hit shots out into the outfield, but the only time I ever homered was just cruising around the bases. I've hit a couple inside the park home runs before, playing baseball and softball, believe it or not. Spieth, Thomas, Tom Kim, Justin Rose, Wyndham Clark, and JJ Spawn. Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. Do they have like little league fences? So is it like 200 feet or something like that? I imagine, because I don't know any 11-year-old that can hit it 300 feet. That would be crazy. But that is so cool, dude. That is awesome. Well, there we go. Proud dad. It's a proud dad moment. That's awesome. Well, hey, that's still, it's impressive. Ryan. Oh, thank you, Joanne. That's right. We're going to do 4 8K golfers. 5'10", that's pretty good. Can't remember, I was just talking about this with my family this weekend. I'm 6'4". I don't remember there ever being a growth spurt. I thought I always grew continuously. But my mom thinks it was like somewhere between 16 and 18 that I had a growth spurt. I don't know if I really did. I honestly, I don't feel like having like a huge growth spurt. 5'10" though, at 11 years old. See, that's 6th grade. I think that's probably what my height was in 6th grade. I was pretty tall. Maybe not 5'10", but either way. Yeah, so it's genetics. It runs in the family. Anyways, going back to the lineups. Ryan, Spieth, Thomas, Kim. So we knock out Poston, and Tom Kim gets slotted in there. I think that's awesome. Clark and JJ Spawn. Now, of course, now we bring Sung Jae back in. Kuchar now gets added to the mix. Do you like Kuchar this week, Ryan? And do you like Keith Mitchell? Do you want me to knock out Keith Mitchell? Because he's going to show up a bunch, I feel. Sung Jae Im, Justin Rose, Keith Mitchell, Taylor Pendrith. That's a good lineup. I like that one. This is a good one too. Kuchar's very safe. Yeah. Sung Jae Im, Justin Rose, Keith Mitchell, Joel Damon. It's pretty solid. Okay, I'll knock out Mitchell. I'm gonna bring back some of these guys that were just created with Mitchell. Computer acts weird sometimes. What the hell? Sung Jae Im, Justin Rose, Chris Kirk, Ben Griffin. I like that. So Im is showing up a bunch with Spieth and Thomas. I don't mind that at all. I think that's a great combo piece. This is a great lineup. Kuchar, Power, Dietrich. Sure, we'll save that one. Here's a different one. JT, Tommy Fleetwood. Do we like Tommy Fleetwood this week? Justin Rose, Wyndham Clark, Seamus Power. That's a really good lineup too. Super good lineup. A lot of the lineups today that we've been building are amazing. Fleetwood, Bradley, Rose, Todd. There we go. Tom Kim, Justin Rose, Adam Hadwin. Yeah, this is a good lineup too. Holy crap. Dude, this might be a week I just max enter the 50-cent one because there are too many good lineups. There are way too many good lineups that are being built that I'm going to have such terrible FOMO with. Way too many good lineups. It's a good lineup. Yeah, Joanne, I think the 4AK golfers were part of the recent Form 2 bucket. So if those are all part of the recent Form 2 bucket, absolutely. I'll build those lineups. Here's another good lineup. Dude. I thought this week was going to be absolutely terrible with building lineups, but every lineup we're building so far, I absolutely love. Dave, what's happening, man? Are those our recent Form 2 golfers? Xander, Homa, Im, Kim? Or is that just a different 4? Yeah, those aren't 8K golfers. Xander and Homa are not. I can build that lineup too. Montgomery. Yeah, that's a good lineup right here. Okay, I'll build 2 more, and then I'm going to do 4 8K golfers because we kind of talked about that earlier on in the video. And then Dave, I'll get to your lineup. Kim Rose, Clark, Scott Stallings. Don't mind that. With Tom Kim. That works out. Pendrith, sure. Okay, one more. Yeah, this is a great combo right here as well. Having Thomas, Kim. I might just save this just to remember it. I can start with these as anchor plays, essentially. All right, so we're gonna do 4 8K golfers. We talked about this in the recent Form 2 bucket. So if you're following along with me on that cheat sheet, you know how to put the filters in. If you don't, just ask the question. We had 4 8K golfers right here. So we're gonna need to choose 4 of them. And to double check, right? Recent form 2 to 4. Yeah. Was this number? These numbers changed. Is that because I put a filter on? That's why they just disappear. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what happens, right? No, they don't. What happened? What? I didn't remove a golfer, I don't think. Unless this is a 1 to 4 bucket. What am I confusing this with? I am so confused as to what changed. I feel like these projections over here were different. It doesn't matter. We're selecting 4. I'm sorry. I get distracted by that kind of stuff all the time. So who are we gonna start with when it comes to the recent form 2 golfers? We gonna go with Burns? I mean, I guess I would much rather go like Lowry. What did Joanne say? Kim, Fitz, and Lowry? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, that works. Kim, Fitz, and Lowry. Ryan, I actually have something very interesting to add to that. That I'll cover. I'll talk about at the end of this video, because this type of like, so here, let me run a couple lineups and then I'll talk about it. So and Kim, Lowry, and Fitzpatrick, right? Was that what it was? Yes, Fitzpatrick. Perfect. None of them are in the same Marquee Tee Time, which is wonderful. I need to change the 8K golfers down here to 4. So I'm the max projection for the 8K bucket. That's something we should probably talked about, was 2. So we probably wouldn't want to do more than 2, but let's just see what it does. We break it, so we can't do those 4 guys. How about this? Do 0 there, and I'm gonna make sure it selects 4 just to see if it can. Maybe it can't. Oh, but we can. So how many? Okay, so we have Fleetwood, Lowry, Kim, and Thomas. Fleetwood is a recent form 2 golfer. Lowry, well, Tom Kim is as well, and Lowry. Okay, so we have 3 recent form 2 golfers. We actually selected 4 recent form 2 golfers. So who's the other one? Is it Max Homa? It is. There's our 4 recent form 2 golfers: Homa, Kim, Lowry, Fleetwood. Then the other 8K golfer that we add in there is JT, which isn't a part of that bucket, but still good nonetheless. That's not a terrible lineup, honestly. I'm gonna save it just because. I'm not a huge 8K golfer. Actually do something like this and probably do something like that just to indicate that it's a different lineup. So I imagine Max Homa just stays there and it just swivels out between. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, cool. So Kim, Fitzpatrick, Lowry, Fleetwood, those are our golfers. Yeah, those are going to be the same. So Hovland now shows up and we get some 6K golfers. That's okay. Sungjae comes in. Okay, so Sungjae, Lowry, Fleetwood. Isn't that what we said? Oh, you said Fitzpatrick. Hatton actually adds to the mix here instead of Fleetwood. Interesting. There we go. 4 8K golfers and 2 7s. Kuchar and Rose. Those are guys that we can rely on. Thomas M. Kim. Finau, M. Fitzpatrick, Lowry, Hatton. So if you want a Fitzpatrick lineup, there we go. And Dietrich. I like Dietrich. I'll always like Dietrich. At a low 7K, the guy has so much potential. So good. Finau, Thomas, M, Fleetwood, Thigala, and Bezadenhout. Homa, Thomas, M, Lowry, Fleetwood, Justin Suh. It's a pretty good lineup. Okay. All right, Ryan. What I want to talk about. So, all of my stats that I use, that I go over, have all been recorded before the tournament starts, and then I analyze all of those stats that led into the tournament. So if I go to 2022 and I'm looking at all of my stats, this is a snapshot of what it looked like 1 year prior to this event, which means I get to analyze when golfers come into an event with a certain stat profile, and it shows, oh, hey, yeah, coming into this event with good off the tee stats, that matters. That's great. Good approach stats, that matters. That's great. Stats like what you're seeing, the 100 to 150 bucket, that is assumed and probably also highlighted that is the yardage total that is used at this golf course more often than not. What the huge flaw in that stat is, how many times, how often does Tony Finau, well, let's put it this way, how often does it, or is it, any of these golfers that hit the ball over 300 yards that would ever be in that yardage category? You know, like, does Sam Burns, Cam Young, Keith Mitchell, Shane Lowry, Tyrrell Hatton, do they ever find themselves in that yardage total? I mean, 100 and 150, yeah, that's a thing. I guess my soapbox that I'm on is 150 to 175, because I saw that that's where the majority of yardages are going to be. But even when it comes to like a bucket like that, was that a recorded stat heading into this tournament? Like, was that a recorded? So if we looked at last year, of all the golfers that came in and the ones that did well, did they, let's just say your top leaders from 100 and 150 leading into this tournament last year, did they all perform at the top? Did, you know, the top guys do well? And if you can't make that correlation, that stat's kind of moot to some extent. You can almost ignore it. It is, I just played it, a lot of them will. Okay. It's just when you get in these bucket totals, what leads into the tournament this week are so many different types of tournaments where that yardage total isn't used by many golfers, or isn't, you know, you can't do an equal 1-for-1. That's just my only argument that goes with it. If, because all the stat, every stat website out there is just a continuous rolling stat website. None of it is taking snapshots, recording any of the data leading into that tournament and telling you, hey, golfers with the stat profile for, you know, the year leading into the tournament, you know, performed this type of way. So you really have no way of analyzing, you know, those types of golfers, because more often than not, what happens is you're looking at we're looking at last year's performance. So Jordan Spieth heading into this tournament had a specific stat category. You know, like, well, first put it this way. No one's looking into, okay, what did Jordan Spieth do heading into this tournament last year? You notice that, like, the Rick Run Goods don't do that. The Pat Mayos don't do that. I don't remember anyone else, like, that really goes over data as much as those guys. They're not taking snapshots that are heading into the tournament and going, oh yeah, you know, Spieth this is what he had over the last 7 weeks right here. coming in with good decent off the tee, decent approach, decent around the green, but very bad putting, you know? Again, this is a snapshot 7 weeks before the tournament, so we can see everything that happened. Or using the buckets. The buckets are snapshots. Those are all snapshots leading into the event. And then we can use that information based off of what we know about this event this year and make all those adjustments that we need to, because the field's different this year than it was last year. So anyways, you can do whatever you want. Absolutely. We all, Nagels likes to say, we all pick our losers. So I'm just throwing that out there just to give you some caution, you know, throwing caution to the wind. Just making sure you don't get caught up in one thing over another. Yeah. Are you using the video game to figure out what your approaches would be? It's an interesting way to think about it. It's not like I wouldn't do that myself. You just got to remember that you have a controlled environment that you get to basically figure out, you know, you get to hit the perfect shot every single time, whereas these pros don't always hit the perfect shot. Yeah, hey dude, Ryan, I don't think the video game is a terrible thing to do. You get to see the layout of the golf course, and figure out, like, to me, what I do in my previews with like the tournament and course information with the shot shapes, that's what, dude, you get to see an actual layout of the golf course, an actual, you know, horizontal, like right on the course look at what most of the players would see. I think it's a great tool to figure that stuff out. Just be cautious that, you know, like, you're playing a video game where you're hitting the ball perfectly most of the time. If you can get it down right, you know, you're gonna hit the ball perfect, meaning you're gonna be in some areas that these PGA Tour players are not going to be, because they don't play it perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, just to finish what I was saying is, be careful. You know, like, when it comes to this event, or just any event that you're building lineups for, when you hear a content creator say that this stat category is better than another stat category, if you have the opportunity to question them why, you should. Because if they're just saying, you know, that's where we see the majority of shots, then the next question would be like, okay, so of the golfers in the field, how can we use a perfect one-to-one comparison amongst all the golfers? Because there's going to be some golfers that aren't going to be in those, you know, those buckets on any other event. Because this is very tree line, right, Ryan? You're playing the video game, every single hole basically tree lined, where you have to hit specific shots. You have to be absolutely perfect with your positioning in order to get the best look in at the green. And if you don't, then you have to hit the correct shot shape to avoid trouble, to avoid the trees. So anyways, that's the end of my soapbox. Dave, are we still in the chat? Do you still want me to build Xander, Homa, Im, and Kim lineups? I mean, I'll start building them for you. Depending if you're in the chat or not, depends on how many lineups I'll build for you. Im and Kim. Alrighty. If you see certain golfers that you don't like, so obviously we have our 2 9s, we have our 2 8s. More often than not, we're going to see the same 7K golfer show up. So if you don't like JT Poston, for instance, just let me know and just say, you know, X out JT or cross out JT. Remove. Use the word remove and whatever name, and I'll remove them. Because Poston is going to show up a ton. So Poston and Pendrith. What was the last one? Poston and Cam Davis. Poston Damon. Poston Woo. Poston Thompson. Davis Thompson. Poston Rye. Poston Buckley. So we're going to see a lot of Poston. There we go. Our first difference. Kuchar Neesmith. Okay. Poston and Smalley. I really like Smalley this week, so I don't mind something like that. So let's go ahead, remove JT Poston, and then what I want to do is... Actually, what did I just do there? Thought I hit a different button. No JT Poston. Same thing is going to apply here. I guarantee we see... Oh, okay, no, we don't. I was going to say, I bet you see the next $7,300 golfer, which was... It was Poston and who? Seamus Power. Seamus Power might be the next 7K golfer that just continues to show up.
When you live with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis,
Stupid ads. There we go. Ooh, we don't, but Cam Davis is showing up a bunch. We'll see when Cam Davis gets removed. Straka Davis. Maverick McNeely, Cameron Davis. Scott Damon. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay, perfect. Kuchar Neesmith. Not terrible. Webb Simpson. Cam Davis. Kuchar and Doug Gim. I don't know if I'd play Gim. Not terrible. Harmon and Ben Royan. If you follow the Fantasy Golf Pod, that's their boy, Eric Van Royan, EVR. Ooh, Gary Woodland, Scott Piercy. You know what? This is a sneaky good lineup. I think this is a course that like a Scott Piercy and a Gary Woodland can do well at. And then it breaks. So we had those limited amount of lineups that we could build before it breaks. So JT Poston's definitely a big piece of the glue that can help you build more lineups. But with these 4 and not playing JT Poston, we just had the ones that we just built. So if you do like the Seabez and Scott lineup, I think that's perfectly fine. And that's not a bad, this isn't a bad thing. When lineups break after a while, it just means it's extremely limited. It just makes your player pools more narrow. Meaning you can only build something like, and that's fine. So if you're like in a 3 max or a 10 max, you just got all the lineups you needed. All right, so any other ones? So Charlotte Cardin, who gives us if you go? See who it gives if you go Burns, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston. Okay. I like the way you think because usually I get stuck with just thinking of the top names and not building the middle. I think if you start with the middle, it's pretty decent. Burns, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston. I was actually thinking about building lineups around my favorite middle guys, like the 7K golfers, and just see who it would pair up with. But it's been giving me, if I start with the 10 and the 9K golfer or 10 and 8K golfer, it's been giving me all the 7K golfers I want to play. So I got no issue with what the optimizer's been doing so far. Scheffler, Burns, Lowry. So we get a Scotty lineup. Mr. Shot Like Harden. Scotty, Burns, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston, and Svensson. That's not terrible. I don't mind playing Adam Svensson at this course. I think it's a perfect course fit for him. Griffin gets added in there with Scott. Hey, dude, if we needed a reason to play Scotty Scheffler, that's fine. Or John Rahm. Yes, okay. This is a great quad to build lineups around. Akshay Bhatia. Do we just go all in on Kuchar and Poston? So it's a bunch of Rombo lineups. If you're just listening, Shot Like Harden, it's a ton of Rombo lineups to go with that core four that we just did with Burns, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston. I know, dude. These lineups are pretty sexy. Hayden Buckley gets added to the mix. He's a solid golfer. I don't know if we didn't do any Cam Young lineups. I know Joanne had mentioned like doing Cam Young and 4 8K golfers, but I don't think we can. It didn't like the 4 8K golfers we chose. I suppose I can try. Alex Smalley, yeah, so sign me up with this lineup. You give me an excuse to use Alex Smalley. What is he, a Duke Blue Devil in Carolina? Yeah, I mean, doesn't Blue Devils eat Tar Heels all day long? Are those fighting words with those Carolina boys? Actually, it's South Carolina, right? Harbor Town's in South Carolina, so never mind. Those would be Gamecocks, which Blue Devils probably eat Gamecocks all day long. Lee Hodges with Rahm. Yeah, that's another good lineup. I like that one. I'll save that one too. Dude, again, so many good lineups are being built this week. Too many good lineups. I don't like Beau Hosler. Like, ugh, gross. Kazire, he was in the optimal lineup, I believe, last year, or the GPP winning lineup. He was. Patton Kazire in the GPP winning lineup. He was 26th place last year, so hey, maybe good vibes. Yeah, so Rahm is now just showing up because there's a 6K golfer. And because Rahm is slightly ranked above... No, he isn't ranked above Scheffler. It must be because of the buckets. Okay. I've seen enough. Joanne goes Young, Lowry, Kuchar, and Poston. Sure. Let me see if I can do a Cam Young and 4 8K golfers. I don't think we can, but we will try. We can. $6,400 Mullinax. So I don't know if it can be a 7K golfer, Joanne. I lied. It can be. Cam Young, Tom Kim, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, Tommy Fleetwood, and Thomas Dietrich. That's pretty solid. Dude, this happened last week. You guys get me to build some of these good lineups. Look at this. I've already saved. I mean, I saved some of these already. Probably from here down. I've already saved 12 lineups. Last week, I think I got through like 50 or 60 lineups that I saved. And I mean, I don't want to, like blame you guys for building bad lineups, but none of them cashed. So, I mean, not none of them. Some of them, not some of them, most of them didn't cash. So that's not on me. That's on you guys. Cantley Young? Sure, Jim. I'll build some of those lineups. All right. Hey, Joanne, it actually works. Doing Cam Young and 4 8K golfers. It hasn't broke yet. We've built a few of them already. I think with 4 of them. This will be 5. Yeah, it works. So we can do Cam Young and 4 8K golfers and a 7K. That's a really good one there. Kim, Fitzpatrick, Lowry, Hatton, Suh. And then now Pendrith. Yeah, okay. So it works out. It works out. I like that one. Crazy. All right. Not going to do 4 8K golfers. Jim wants some Cantlay Young, so this will satisfy any of the Young requests. So Jim, just to forewarn you, we're going to see a lot of JT Poston. We're going to see a lot of Justin Rose and or Matt Kuchar. If you don't want me to play any of those guys, this is your moment to tell me as I run through these. Also, if you see a guy that keeps showing up, just tell me remove said golfer. So whoever it is, just tell me to remove. Although we go Cantlay and Cam Young, we get Xander into the mix. No 8K golfers whatsoever, and it drops down to a 7 and 2 6Ks. It's the first time we've ever seen that this building lineups. Cantlay Young, Sung J M, Brian Harmon, Christian Bezuidenhout, and Thomas Dietrich. Interesting. So now we're not even seeing Rosie or JT Poston. Oh, well, there's a JT Poston sighting. Interesting. Okay, Jim. Sounds good. Wyndham Clark, Keith Mitchell, Adam Scott, Brian Harmon. That's a really good, like, balanced lineup with a 10-9K start. So no Justin Rose, I should say. Cantlay Young, Bradley, Clark, Harmon, and Dietrich. So it looks like Wyndham Clark and Harmon have replaced Kuchar, Rose, and Poston. Now we get a Poston sighting. 10-9-8-7-7-6. Cantlay Young, Thigala, Bradley, Poston, Pendrith. Pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. Kim, Chris Kirk, Brian Harmon, and Akshay Bhatia. I like that lineup a lot. Are you going to use any of these against me, Jim, in League? I sure hope not. Cantlay Young, Finau. Interesting, 2 9K golfers. 7 and 2 6Ks. Cantlay Young, M, Mitchell, Poston, Davis, Thompson. Okay. I'll build like a handful more of these. Anybody else want to see some lineups built? Or Jim, if you have different combinations, let me know. Cantlay Young, Burns, Mitchell, Svensson, Todd. Not terrible. Cantlay Young, Hatton, Mitchell, Hadwin, Kitayama. It's the first Kitayama sighting. I like that. I don't mind Kitayama at this golf course. Maybe not my favorite, but not terrible. Here's an interesting one. I like this lineup a lot. Cantlay Young, Tom Kim, Keith Mitchell, Maverick McNeely, and Brendan Todd. I can't say I'm going to have a lot of Maverick McNeely out there, or even Brendan Todd, so the fact that they show up together seems pretty good to me. Cantlay Young, Shoffley, Poston, Harmon, Laird. Okay, that's different. Not the good different, in my opinion. Maybe. Cantlay Young, Bradley, Mitchell, Poston, Patrick, Rogers. I don't mind that lineup. I'm a little jaded by Keith Mitchell, primarily because of me having some good lineups last week and him just... I mean, he made the cut, but he tanked it on the weekend hard. Here's a good one. Wyndham Clark, Mitchell, and Brandon Wu. Sure. Cantlay Young, Sung J M, Keith Mitchell, JT Poston, Lee Hodges. I like Hodges. I don't mind those golfers together. I think that's solid. Cantlay Young, Burns, Poston, Harmon, Buckley. Okay, that works. Jason Duffner gets added to the mix. Hovland, Young, Harmon, Todd, Duffner. Solid. All right, 2 more. Anybody else have some lineup considerations? Oh, I'm sorry. Joanne, I'll do yours. Young, Lowry, Kuchar, and Poston. This is a good one to end on. I think this is solid. Cantlay, Young, Homa, Harmon, Putnam. That's a good GPP lineup. Jim, did you so I made the comment that I think it was during the review video, and I think it was to Shot Like Harden, or maybe it was Barry, where they did well, like they went 100% in on Brooks, and I'm like, well, I'm glad you did well, because I basically gave away all the money that I won at the Valero. So I made a good amount of money at Valero. Yeah, that all just went right back to DraftKings. Like, it was not a good Masters week for me either. So no worries, man. No worries. Well, you know, there's peaks and valleys to this kind of thing. Okay, so Joanne says Young, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston. Yeah. Young, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston. That sucks, Jim. That's terrible. Why does this break? So Poston, Kuchar, Lowry, Cam Young. So the optimizer doesn't like it for some reason. Two 7s, an 8, a 9. Not having it is there. It has to be with one of the 4 buckets. Actually, it's with the strokes gained buckets. I imagine because Kuchar and JT Poston are strokes gained 4 golfers. Lowry's a strokes gained 3, so too is Cam Young. And that means we're telling, okay, so how about this? I'll remove the 2 that we need to get for strokes gained 1. I'll make sure to grab it again. But obviously this breaks, and that doesn't even help it either. So there's a different bucket that is slowing it down. So unfortunately, we can't do any Young, Lowry, Kuchar, Poston lineups. Doesn't work. Oh, good luck, Shot Like Harden. Thanks for stopping by while you're watching your kid play baseball. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Maybe we can go like Young, Lowry. Let's just do those 2 and see if Poston or Kuchar show up. Poston does, but not Kuchar. So some combination of lineups just isn't working out when it comes to putting Kuchar in there. Yeah, still not seeing a lot of, well, there's a Poston lineup. So yeah, Poston would work, but not Not Kuchar. Looks like Cam Young with Max Homa shows up a ton. I saved that one. That's a good one. Okay. Any other lineup combinations out there? Jim, do you have any more that you'd like to see built around? Do you have like who are your top like 4 golfers you're liking this week? Doesn't matter the price tag. Just Burns, Post, and Rose. Perfect. This one, although there was a lineup already in there, had Cantlay, Schauffele, Burns, Rose, Poston, and Davis Thompson. I don't mind that with Davis Thompson. I think that's a decent one. Cantlay, Burns, Lowry, Rose, Clark, Poston. That's a good lineup. Very balanced. Very good though. So Cantlay again, but we replace. I already forgot who's there. Wyndham Clark with Taylor Montgomery. That's okay. Here we go. Here's a 10-9-8-7-7-6. I can get behind this one. Cantlay, Schauffele, Burns, Rose, Poston. Good luck, Joanne. Nice to have you in here. Hopefully you got some good lineup building ideas. Cantlay, Homa, Burns, Rose, Poston, Pendrith. Sign me up. That is a sexy lineup. As Byron would say, sign me the hell up. Cantlay, Homa, Burns, Rose, Poston, Damon. Not terrible. Not a huge Damon fan though, so probably a good one to do to diversify the lineups. Sam Burns, Sung J.M., Justin Rose, Poston, and Steven Yeager. I like that lineup. Again, Patrick Cantlay joins that one. Dietrich gets added to here with Xander. So, ooh, Cam Young, Xander. Here's a different one. I like this one. Okay. I'm going to run a couple more. Let me know if there's any other lineup ideas out there. I might just call this one early. But if I get some more engagement, I don't mind staying on. But I also wouldn't mind getting out early too. So don't feel guilty though. Honestly, don't feel guilty. Scheffler, Burns, Thigala, Rose, Poston, Cam Davis. I don't see many Thigala lineups. I will save that one just so I can have a little bit of exposure to Thigala. FOMO reasons, of course. Rom, Burns, Lowry, JT Poston, Justin Rose, Ben Griffin. Yep, I like that one too. So you know what? I think if some lineups come through, I'll allow it. But I think I'm just gonna call our quits early tonight. Feeling a little run down, not because of streaming, but just wasn't feeling good today. So I'll wait. There's a 10-second delay between you and I. We'll see if there's anything that comes through. If not, we're gonna call our quits. Cantlay, Burns, Im, Rose, Poston, and Grillo. That's another good lineup, by the way. Cantlay, Shoffley, Burns, Rose, Poston, Neesmith. That's not terrible. I don't mind that lineup. Cantlay, Shoffley, Burns, Rose, Poston, Glover. Hey, I don't mind that either. Cantlay, Homa, Burns, Rose, Poston, Woo. Sure, I like that one. All right, I think the time has gone by. So we're gonna call this one quits. I'd love to stay on a little bit later, but I think this is a perfect week to be a little, well, actually next week would be a perfect week to kind of not spend the full time building lineups. I think this week could be good. I think the fact that there's not a lot of buzz going around, like as there was the Masters, there's a bit of a hangover, might be the perfect opportunity to get your edge on other DFS golfers and, you know, well, basically just find an edge to win more money. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Let's do some some giveaway reminders. So if you want a chance to win $5, next Monday, I will run a weekly giveaway. All you have to do is comment on any of the videos that I've posted this week. You get one free entry per video. And then you also have to be subscribed. You'll get into the giveaway for $5. That will also be added to the monthly giveaway that you see on the screen. So the Monday after the end of the month, whatever Monday that is, could be the first day of the next month. If it's a Monday and there's a preview video to put out, I will then do a weekly giveaway. I mean, a monthly giveaway. But also a weekly giveaway will be around that time too. But that's when the monthly giveaway will be around, the first Monday of the next month. And all of your weekly giveaways go right into the monthly giveaway. So it kind of just pays dividends just by participating on the channel. Everyone that participated in the live chat will get those participation. I mean, you'll get rewarded. I'll put your name into the weekly giveaway as well as the monthly giveaway. But if you want additional ones, I already have like 5 videos, I think, or 4 videos this week that I've already posted. This would be the 5th one. You can get 5 more entries into this giveaway just by commenting on any of those, and of course being subscribed. Also, Prize Picks. If you're not signed up on Prize Picks, check the link in the description below. That'll send you to the sign up page, or it'll send you to the home page. If you go sign up, they will populate the promo code SweetSpot for you when you sign up. And if you put some money in your account, I'm gonna give you $20 back. It's a minimum deposit of $20 anyways, so you don't even have to see that I require that. But if you want to put $100 in your account, they'll match your deposit up to $100, so you'll get $200 and you'll get $20 back from me. So that way you can maximize how much you can play on Prize Picks. Again, link in the description below. Appreciate it if you use it. If not, that's okay. That will do it for me though. Also, if you wanted access to that optimizer, just email me at sweetspotdfs@gmail.com and I will send it your way. Thanks, Jim. Good luck to you as well. Both Jims, Jim Christoph, Jim Lemoyne. Good luck to you. Joanne was, I think, already left the chat, but good luck to her. Shot like Hardin, Barry, all the guys that showed up today. Time to leave though. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.